Okay, so there's this video game called Raiders of the Broken Planet. I made a video on it 4 months ago. It has now gone through a name change. It's now called SpaceLords, and it's gone fully free to play. I think that calls for an update video, eh? Hey! Hi! How you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So the previous pay-to-play experience, Raiders of the Broken Planet, has been reborn as the new free-to-play experience, SpaceLords. So what are my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on SpaceLords? How does it hold up as a free-to-play video game? And why do I think you should give it a try? All these questions will be answered and more after a word from our sponsor. I'm just kidding, there isn't actually a sponsor. So, if you watched my previous Raiders of the Broken Planet video, you know, I already generally like the game, no doubt. And I do want to emphasize I am looking at this from a veteran's perspective, from someone who has all the campaigns unlocked, the vast majority of all the characters unlocked. I unfortunately cannot speak for new players. I cannot give my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the new player experience, which I know is radically different in SpaceLords compared to how it was in Raiders. So I'll apologize up front not being able to detail what the new player experience is like for SpaceLords. I'll do my damnedest to be fair and unbiased, but no guarantees. But now, what is SpaceLords exactly? It's a third-person shooter / melee brawler. The game focuses on PvE co-op multiplayer content, with the added bonus of a 4v1 asymmetrical PvP multiplayer spin on that PvE co-op content, as well as the option to play solo. SpaceLords has a hero shooter-esque roster of different playable characters, all of which have different weapons and abilities suited to different playstyles, tactics, and strategies. Now, what I have to praise about this game and its developers, and I've praised this about the game since it was Raiders and now SpaceLords, is that this is one of the most creative and unique third-person action games on the market. You will not get an experience quite like this. With the surprising emphasis on melee combat, all the different characters' weapons and abilities genuinely affecting how you play and engage enemies in combat, and the unique and constant variety in the art style and level design. Now, SpaceLords is not for everybody. I know its art style and its gameplay style is not going to rub everybody the right way, but for those of you looking for something new, something unique, SpaceLords may scratch that itch. Also, now that it's completely free to play, containing one opening story mission and 4 story campaigns containing 4 story missions each, and each one of those individual story missions, and I speak from personal experience on this, are totally unique and varied, and none of them play exactly the same as one another, each one having radically different level design and objectives. A fair amount of those story missions containing boss battles that have the same amount of variety, uniqueness, and creativity. For a free-to-play game, there's a lot of quality content on offer here. Even if you're not a fan of SpaceLords, even if you don't like SpaceLords, I think we can all agree that there is genuine passion and creativity coming from the developers here. Now, what is the progression system like in SpaceLords as a free-to-play game? What are you going to be leveling up and grinding and investing your time into? Well, XP to level up by completing missions, obtaining gold and faction points by completing missions, obtaining weapon blueprints from specifically timed awards on specific missions, using gold to build those weapon blueprints, leveling up and using gold to unlock access to all the different playable characters, using faction points to buy cards for your different characters to help give them a variety of stat boosts, and finally leveling up to boost overall stats such as your melee damage resistance, and specifically PvP player shot damage resistance. As you keep playing the game, as you keep leveling up and obtaining resources, you're going to get more and more powerful, get access to more and more new toys to play with, characters, and weapons. Keep in mind, however, this is a free-to-play game. There is a grind, which mainly focuses around you replaying content, replaying all of the available story missions. Now, speaking as a veteran who has all the story campaigns, all the story missions unlocked, From that perspective, from the position I'm in, I can safely say SpaceLords has a ton of variety in its story missions. Like I said earlier, every objective is different for every story mission. The level design is unique and different for every story mission. All the boss battles are unique and different. Nothing in SpaceLords is copy-paste. Now, what I do know about the new player experience is you get access to the starter story mission and one campaign. And once you beat that first campaign, you unlock another campaign, and the speed at which you unlock these campaigns depends on what your level is, because I understand that some story missions are locked behind certain level gates. So just to reiterate, if you plan on playing SpaceLords, just be aware, you will be replaying content. I'm sure if you're into free-to-play games and you've played free-to-play games before, you understand and realize, A, there's gonna be a grind. You're gonna be replaying stuff again and again for a fair amount of time. Just be sure you understand that going into SpaceLords. You have to apply those free-to-play expectations. And speaking of free-to-play expectations, let's talk about the monetization system. And in my opinion, SpaceLords has a fair monetization system. It has a premium currency called Mercury Points that you can spend real-world money on, and you can spend those Mercury Points to buy bundles of gold, XP boost, or unique cosmetic skins for your characters. You cannot straight up buy level ups, you cannot straight up buy weapon blueprints. If you want to unlock all the characters, all the weapons, all the story missions, you will have to play the game. You can't use money to completely bypass progression. I like that, and I'm okay with that. Now that all that important information has been covered, I want to share my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the graphics, gameplay, and story of SpaceLords. Now this should come as no surprise just looking at the gameplay footage in the background, but SpaceLords is beautiful. The unique animated cartoon comic book-esque art style, along with the surprising immense amount of detail in the character models, weapons, and environments, on top of a superb lighting system, and just fantastic optimization across the board. This game runs buttery smooth at high FPS on max settings on my PC. And it looks so good. Fantastic attention to detail. SpaceLords is one of the best looking free-to-play video games out on the market right now. If you're a graphics whore, like I am, you'll appreciate this. Now gameplay, this has been the main draw for me with SpaceLords and when it was previously Raiders. It's just such a unique game to play. We have the Aleph stress meter system that completely changes how you look at and how you use cover. We have the immensely satisfying melee combat system. The variety of punches and kick animations from all the different characters looks, feels, and sounds so satisfying. The whole one-hit kill grab system adds an interesting dynamic and makes all the special enemies and all players have to be extremely cautious and tactical when engaging enemies in close quarters, because you know, all players and all special enemies have that one-hit kill grab move. Some fair constructive criticism though, it can feel cheap. It can be very frustrating, and I know there are some people that have quit the game and don't like the game because of the grab move, and I can kind of understand that. I'm okay with it, I've gotten used to it. I see it as part of the game's core design when it comes to melee combat, but yeah, I can totally see the divide with a lot of players not liking it. Then we have all the different characters with all their different abilities and all their different weapons. One thing I love about SpaceLords is how every single weapon is unique and different from one another. Each one has a nifty little mechanic attached to it, and some characters get access to multiple weapon types. While there are some characters that only get access to assault rifles or sniper rifles, some characters get access to a variety of weapon types including SMGs and shotguns that really change up their playstyle and how you look at and approach that character. There's such versatility, diversity, and replayability with all the different characters and weapons. It's one of the reasons I've been playing the game as long as I have, still playing all these different story missions in different ways with the different characters, with different cards that alter their abilities, alter their stats, and different weapons that alter their playstyles, and how I engage the story mission, how I engage my enemies, how I engage other players in PvP. I just really like all the different characters and weapons, and I gotta point out, god damn, the designs of these characters and weapons. Look at this stuff. This looks awesome! So much inspiration, so much creativity, so much detail. The developers over at Mercury Steam are fully taking advantage of their sci-fi fantasy setting, just really flexing those artistic muscles. Then we come to the story and I honestly don't know what to say when it comes to the story. I mean, I can say that the cutscenes are really well directed, beautifully shot. They're entertaining to watch, but the plot itself, Mercury Steam, please don't take this as an insult, but you guys are batshit insane! I can't tell you whether you'll like or dislike the story of SpaceLords. What I can tell you is, it's a wild ride. You will never expect what comes next. One aspect I will give praise for to the writers and the writing of SpaceLords and its story is the consistency. For me, after playing and experiencing SpaceLords' story in chronological order with all the campaigns and story missions, all of the characters were defined, they didn't radically change, and become different people cutscene to cutscene, campaign to campaign, story mission to story mission. Important plot points are not forgotten, as a matter of fact they get brought back up and referenced. Especially when it comes to the Alien Myths and Council Apocalypse campaigns. The War Dog's Fury and Hades' Betrayal campaigns are a bit more separated from the rest, but there is still an underlying consistency. And while the actual storytelling in the cutscenes and the story missions might be what I describe as erratic, there is the fairly excellent Universe tab, the Universe Codex, where you can unlock and read up on all the backstory and lore on the SpaceLords universe, its factions and characters. This is an excellent addition, and it really does flesh out and add a bunch of much-needed context to the story, characters, and world of SpaceLords, and is fantastic for those players who love lore and backstory and that kind of narrative content. And that's SpaceLords, my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it, and why I think you need to play it. Give it a try. It's free to play, and it's pretty damn high quality for a free-to-play game. Is the game perfect? No. It has its flaws, it has its issues, but you know what? A lot of my personal criticism I have for the game is going to soon be addressed. The devs recently posted the SpaceLords roadmap, detailing future content and updates to the game. And it's all really good stuff. The 4 biggest major content updates coming to the game in the future being Space Guilds. The first major SpaceLords milestone will allow players to create and customize their own space guilds within the game. Full cross-platform implementation and expanded communication options. Aspiring SpaceLords can team up, design their own guild banner with the new in-game editor, and coordinate their games together in preparation for the conflict to come. After that, SpaceLords Identity. With the arrival of the new in-game store, players will now have countless more options for customizing their characters, with new outfits, exclusive weapon customizations, emotes to express in-game, and even new fighting styles, melee weapons, and finishing moves? That one I'm personally really excited for. After that, we have The Great Clash. With the Space Guilds now fighting to control the Aleph resources, the stakes will be raised much higher when they compete to show who's the best. Guilds will endeavor to leave their mark on the broken planet, obtaining the best scores, and literally planting their banner on the missions they master for all to see. This isn't a battle anymore, but a war. And finally, we have the Aurora Spectres. SpaceLords' thrilling 4v1 gameplay will be further boosted with the arrival of the Aurora Spectres, demonic entities whose eldritch powers are only rivaled by their thirst for the Raider's blood. Something wicked this way comes. This is all excellent. This is a great roadmap, and it has me, as a veteran player, excited for the future of this game. So whether you decide to check out SpaceLords now, or later after all these content updates, I think SpaceLords has a bright future ahead of it. I know I'll be playing and supporting it in the future, and hopefully, maybe, you'll play it, try it out, and fall in love with it like I did. Quirks and flaws in all. Anyways, that's been a video. I hope you liked the video. If you didn't like the video in any way, shape, or form, please be sure to like button. Hit the like button up too. Helps me. Helps everybody involved with the video. If you'd like button, please leave a comment in the comments section below. Leave comments. What are your thoughts, feelings, opinions on SpaceLords? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter and Facebook. If you want to help out and support me directly, well, there's always Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I'll see you all later.